Hey everyone, Gnarlash here, and today I'm going to be taking you through my top 20 favorite base locations on the new Valguero Ascended map. So if you find yourself enjoying this one, make sure you hit that like button, helps the channel out a ton, and if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. And we are starting off here right at base location number 1. So this is in the Chalk Cliffs, or the White Cliffs, right? And we're looking at this kind of like plateau area here. It's extremely flat. It has a ton of space, and there's only, I think, 2 ways up here. So the first way up here is right here, right? Come along here, and it just kind of works its way down. And like you can, that's not even a way up over here. You can sort of even just block that way off, and then come over here and block this way off as well. And you have this entire section to yourself. Or if you want to just start on the top area, you can just literally block off this ramp right over here. Yeah, so a massive area here. It's really close to some decent resources as well. And of course you have some water here, right? And then if you come up right over here, there's actually tons of metal and crystal. And I think there might even be some obsidian up here too. Yeah, right here, there's some obsidian. So really just nice off the ground, well, I guess off the lower ground area for a base. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite spots, and possibly even one that I might be using in the series, so we will see. But yeah, let's go ahead and head over to base location number 2. Also, real quick, before we head over to base location number 2, here are the coordinates of this first base location. So 68 by 67.5. Okay, here we are at our second base location, and it's pretty close to the first one. It's actually this island down here in the bottom of this, it's like kind of like a hole in the outer terrain here. And yeah, it's just really nice, really flat area. It is surrounded by water, so you don't have to worry about creatures, you know, getting in that way. However, you will have to kind of worry about creatures falling in from up here. I don't know if this crystal is harvestable. Probably isn't. In fact, I don't think any of these purple crystals are harvestable down here. But you do have easy access to water. We do have Ichthyornis down here, which is not amazing, but I mean, it's kind of is what it is, right? And then you do have access to the same crystal, metal, and obsidian location that you do for the first base location, which is actually right over here. That's where we were for the first base location. So really nice spot. It's actually really pretty. So as long as you're able to hold off whatever kind of falls in with you, which, you know, best case is like herbivores, and worst case will be like aloes, I guess, or maybe Deinonychus. But yeah, definitely a really nice base location. And of course, here are the coordinates. We're at 79.8, 67.5. So let's head on over to base location number 3. The base location number 3 is one that you might recognize from the original Valguero map. It is at 37.9, 90.4 over here in the jungle, and it is the jungle castle. So something to note about the jungle castle actually is it actually doesn't let you build anywhere above the first level. So if we pick this up, actually, we can just pick these up for now. We can actually pick up the bed. Can we pick up the foundation? That's fine. We don't need that anymore. Let me show you what I mean. So like if we even stop flying, we actually can't build here. So you can build on the edge, but it's only on places that appear to be like off of the castle itself. So like you can build a foundation on the wall, but you can't build a foundation here. You can build a foundation on like this broken wall, but you can't build one, you know, like inside here, which is a little strange because on the original Valguero map in Survival Evolved, you could definitely build in here. Let me also show you the inside. So can't build on the floor, but you can build on the rubble, right? You can, the ramp here actually doesn't even count as buildable terrain mostly. And yeah, you still can't even build up here, right? But can build on the wall if you really want to. So it's a little weird. Yeah, I mean, and then down here, of course, you can build, but as long as you don't mind that, it's still a really nice base location. Tons of space. You can always like store your dinos and stuff, I guess, in the upper levels, and then just build all your structures on the bottom. The benefit to this one is that it's so high up. Oops, it's so high up off of the, like everything else, like as far as the jungle goes. So you don't really have to worry about anything falling into your base or anything like that. And then at the front here, there's actually this water it is actual water. So you can use that for your, like for drinking or for your crops and stuff like that. So that's actually really nice. And then there is a cave below the castle. So right down over here. So if you're looking at the castle, right, there's the castle, you come right down here. There's actually a cave here, which could be a base location in and of itself, because it is just so massive, right? So if you want to build in the cave, here's like a kind of like a bonus for you. I think there used to be more metal in here in Survival Evolved, but there is still a little bit in here that you can come in here and gather. So that's kind of nice. But then another bonus to this, to just being in this castle is, so if we come back up to our castle and you see the red foliage there, right by all the waterfalls. So here's your castle, and we come over here. So this is the shrine, right? Right behind this waterfall here is actually a hidden cave that just has a ton of metal and obsidian. So you can just come back here and just gather all this stuff, and it's really close to your base if you decide to build there. So pretty cool. A lot of resources in close proximity, right? There's even some crystal here too, which I'm almost positive is harvestable, like the blue ones. I don't think the purple ones are, but maybe some of them are. But in any case, yeah, just a really good base location. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so base location number 4 is at 53.1, 72.6, and it is over here at, or in the middle of Beaver Lake, and it is like this this fort that's here now that I don't think was in the original Valguero. Probably would have remembered that. But yeah, so it's in the middle of the lake, so you're surrounded by water, which is really nice. And then there's like one way up. You have your bridge here, and you can easily just block this wall off. You just have all of this buildable space in here. You have crystal, which, I mean, once you start building, it'll probably block the spawn of that anyway. So, I mean, there is that. But just a nice, decently sized space for building. And then right up here, actually, you have access to metal, and then pretty close to here, we should also have some obsidian as well. Thought it was over here, but maybe it's a little bit farther away. So you do have access to the metal there, and then right over here, since this is Beaver Lake, there's actually the giant beaver dams, and even the normal beaver dams over there. Get a little bit closer so you can see. They can just harvest very easily for cementing paste. So nice little spot. You do have a loot drop that spawns here every once in a while as well, so that's also pretty cool. And you're really close to Green Ob if you ever need to do any sort of boss fighting or just transferring between servers and stuff like that. So definitely a nice little fort here to build in. Okay, base location number 5 is located at 50.8 and 38, and this is, I love this one like a lot. So this is actually near the herbivore island of Valguero, right? Because we have this island here that is, as far as I've seen, it's only herbivores that spawn here. This is also the case in the original Valguero map. And they've added this fort, which is very cool. I mean, you don't even have to block this off because there shouldn't be anything threatening you unless you aggro it and bring it across the lake yourself. So that's really nice. Got a nice flat area here that you can build in, or maybe just store your dinos in. And you have this fort that you can actually also build in as well. So I didn't check if you could build on every surface in this one. So hopefully you can. But yeah, I do find it a little weird that you can't build on some surfaces of some castles. Right, so, but in any case, this is a nice little spot in the middle of the lake that you can build at. Of course, we don't have any resources that are immediately accessible because we are so far removed from everything else. You do have this little like pier that wraps around the back here, which I think is a really nice sort of cosmetic touch. So you can have like your raft here. If you used a raft to get out here, you can park it, hop on there, use it for whatever. And then of course over here on our island, you do have access to sap. So these stumps here, you can actually just harvest them and they give you sap. So that is pretty cool. So you got some sap right there. So that's really awesome. I think beehives might spawn here as well, but I don't know if that's the case in ASA. But yeah, as far as all your other resources go, you will have to do a bit of traveling. I will say though that if you do build a raft and you're using that to kind of get around, or you have a flyer, you can come right over here for some easy vegetables, right? So we know that in these ruins, there are some vegetable spawns. So if we hop right in here, should be able to locate some. So like right here is some long grass for you. Perfect. Yeah, so definitely a really nice base location. Okay, here we are at base location number 6. We are at 76.6, 38.1, and we are in the redwoods. So definitely not the safest place to be. However, we do have this nice, big, wide open, mostly flat. Oh, we got bugs on us, of course. Mostly flat spot. And just really open, right? So you have plenty of space to build. As far as resources go, we do have metal and crystal here. We actually have some obsidian over here as well. The only thing you have to worry about, obviously, is all of the RGs around here. So you can see there are just a ton of RGs. Now, if you're in the position where you can tame RGs, then this might not be too big of a deal. It looks like there's actually some oil here as well. I think this is an oil rock. But yeah, so all you have to do over here is, as far as land creatures go, you literally just block off this natural bridge and you're good to go. I guess you'd also probably have an issue with water because I don't think there's any water around this area. So you will have to figure that bit out. Yeah, I'm not seeing any water that's like nearby. So I did notice that there are some like water wells in around Valguero, so maybe there's one of those around. And then if that's the case, then water won't be as big of an issue. But just at a glance here, you might be you might need to set down some water tanks and then just hope it rains for hope it rains enough for you to just have that consistent water. But yeah, overall, really decent spot off the ground, especially considering it's the redwoods, so you don't have to worry about thyllas pouncing you. Again, the only thing you really need to worry about is if you block off your land bridge here, all the RGs, because they're kind of far away right now, but I guarantee you they will slowly make their way over. Okay, base location number 8 is also in the redwoods. It is at 76.2, 48.3, and it is another castle. So this one, we can actually take a look and see that it is buildable. So I think the only one I ran into an issue with was that jungle castle, unfortunately. Yeah, it looks like we're able to build on all of these surfaces once we get close enough. So that's really cool. Right, you kind of want that. Although I think this one did have a room in here that I wasn't able to build in. Let me come in here and see. It might have been upstairs. So let's just come upstairs. No, maybe not. It wasn't this one. Because we can just build on all these. Yeah, you can just build everywhere in here. So that is really awesome. So yeah, you have your castle. It is on a rise, right? So you are kind of safe from any sort of land creatures once you clear out the stuff that's already in here. There's obviously a drop that spawns right there. And all you need to do is block off your bridge, right? So you do have all of that going for you. There's literally metal that spawns right below you, which is very, very convenient. Up here, if for some reason you want to store your dinos like out in the open, you do have this giant flat area here. Obviously you might want to secure it a little bit because you do have thyllas like back there. As we can see, there's a thylla, there's bears, there's just a bunch of stuff that's gonna be around here. So there is that. But yeah, overall just a really solid spot. You also have crystal over here, so that's really nice. I thought it was obsidian for a second. It's actually just a bear. But yeah, overall, it's a really, really nice spot. And just across the way from the base location we were just at, which is right over here. Also, something to note that between these two base locations, you also have, where is it? I know it's here somewhere. There we go. We have the Broodmother area, right? So this is where the World Broodmother spawns. And obviously, behind where she spawns is that artifact cave, which I think has... How many artifacts does that one have? Is it 2 or 3? Can't remember. But yeah, that is right there, very close. So if you care about having easy access to that, then, you know, you do have that as well. This is another base location, though, that does not have easy access to water. So that is another consideration you're going to want to think about. But as far as like everything else goes, it's actually pretty good. You will have to travel for your obsidian, it seems. So yeah, just some things to consider. But overall, really nice castle. Looks really good. Has like some really cool, like a path, like a walkway outside of it, which is kind of nice. You have this beautiful tree in the back here too. So yeah, just really nice option if you want to live in a castle. Our next base location is over here at 60.5, 10.3, and it is right at the edge of the redwoods, right before you get over into the tundra biome. And it is this massive, like, I mean, I guess you could call it a castle. I don't know if this would be considered a castle. I think to me, it's like more like a fort. But yeah, you do have this here, easy access to water, which is always nice. Tons of space to build, right? All you need to do is block off your front gate here. I think that's really the only way in. Maybe block off the sides as well. Possibly. Yeah, it looks like you might want to block off like this this doorway here just in case. But you do have all of the space here then to put your dinos. You can like build your base right in this area here or even in the interior. So that's all really nice. And you actually have the space back here, which is just an enclosed spot. Maybe you want to put your like your vaults or your storage back here. Very cool. Nice wide open area. And then, of course, you have access to your rare resources. So, like, literally right outside your base, you have some metal. If you come right up this hill here, you do have some more metal. You have your obsidian, you have your crystal, all very close to your base. And actually, it just kind of extends all the way back here. So there's just a ton of resources here for you to harvest as you need them. It's just a matter of getting to this location, right? Because getting out here through the tundra and the redwoods to this location is probably the challenge. But once you're here and you're set up and you have some tames, I think it'll definitely be worth creating your base here. Okay, base location number 9 is located at 33.8, 9.9, and it is right at this lake here. So you come over to this lake, you're going to see these waterfalls with these like pretty sizable rocks sticking out. And what you're going to want to do is right on this middle one, you just come right in here. And you can actually come in through each waterfall, looks like. That's just the biggest entrance there. And you come back here and it is just massive. Yeah, the lighting in here is just crazy with like the blue and the purple and all that. But you do have a massive area to build in. Obviously the water is actually in here. So, I mean, you have easy access to water. It's actually very deep. So these are actually entrances to the abyss area. So you can store your deep water creatures in here if you want to. And then you just have crystal and metal, and I think there's some obsidian in here as well. If I'm not mistaken. Thought I saw some, maybe there's not. But yeah, you just have a ton of crystal and metal all over the place. So even if you're building in here, and, well, is that obsidian? I can't actually tell. Oh no, it's just the top of a crystal. But yeah, even if you're building in here and blocking some of the spawns, there's just like so much here. And then on the outside, like right above you here is just some more resources for you. So here's your obsidian if you need it and all that. Obviously a little bit dangerous in terms of the location. And then of course getting to it is not that easy because you're going to have to be able to get up in there. So maybe grappling hooks if you don't have a flyer. But yeah, overall, really nice base location. Very secure too, because you're literally in a cave. Okay, base location number 10 is at 40.7, 67.5, and it is in this kind of pretty much destroyed structure here. It is very secure, right? It's high off of the low ground, and there's only this one way up, right? So you have your stairs. You can block it off up at the top of your base. You can block it off down here if you want to. But then that's the only way up, right? It leads you in through here. You have this whole massive spot that you can build in. And then there's actually some stairs over here. And there's a small sort of like interior area as well. So you can build some stuff in here if you want to. And then you can come out here. And you actually just have a really decent view. Now, of course, the deal with this area is that Karchas and Gigas can spawn here. So there was one just around here a second ago. Where is he? There he is. So there's a Karch right down there. So, I mean, they won't get up here, obviously, but just something to be aware of as if you're looking to build here. Also, there's some metal right here. If you come over here, there's your crystal, right? And then I believe there's also obsidian. Yep, obsidian is like right here. So there's your base. You have some obsidian and just like a ton of metal. And I think there's even some oil here too. Yeah, there's the oil node that you can just put an oil derrick on. And then, yeah, just tons of access to a bunch of different resources. The only thing that's going to be a little bit tough up here, again, is water. And that's kind of the trend with most of the castles I'm seeing, is like anything that's like not in the water. So like that doesn't have a moat or a lake next to it, with the exception of like the jungle castle. It does have some issues with water. So you will probably be placing a bunch of water tanks just to get water in your base. But if you don't mind doing that, then I think this is a pretty decent base location. Okay, our next base location is at 49.2, 75.5, and we are actually in the aberration zone. So this location here is just this massive metal structure that sort of spans like this whole area here. So if maybe you have a tribe of a bunch of people and you want like a really big spot for a base, this is this is pretty massive, right? So you have this bridge that kind of goes across here that you can block off. And then there's also another path up right over here that you can also block off with a behemoth gate or something like that. And you just have this entire area to yourself. Now, the one thing I will say is that I noticed in the aberration zone, there's not a ton of like really good resources. So you do have your green gems over here. There's some more over here as well, but I haven't really seen a ton of metal. And that's kind of, that could kind of be an issue. Even in the radiation zone, I didn't see any. So, I mean, plus side, you're in the aberration zone. You have easy access to aberration creatures. You can go over to the rock drake area, get some reapers, get some rock drakes. The black pearls are in there too, along with organic polymer, which, I mean, isn't too far away. It's right over there. So you see that pink area. That's where that is. But at the same time, you're going to be missing out on, metal and stuff like that. Also, I haven't seen any obsidian around here either. So also something else to think about. And then of course, water. There's no water in the immediate area, but if you need to bring it back to your base, there's actually a lake right over here, that is full of, drowning light pets and dodos apparently. So there's also that. But overall, if you're set on building in the aberration zone and you're looking for a spot for a bigger base, then this is definitely the spot to build in. Okay, back outside, our next base location is at 24.8, 41.8, and we're looking at this like kind of a cave. It's kind of, I don't know, I guess you can call it a cave, but it's a little spot here. You can put a decent sized base. You'll have to block this ramp as well as this land bridge. Aesthetically, it's kind of cool. Definitely like, you have bones and stuff all over the place and like just dead trees and stuff like that. It's very, kind of like graveyardy vibes, right? So aesthetically, it's really cool. However, as far as resources and stuff go, you might be struggling a bit. So there's not a ton of stuff like really close by. So you'll be traveling for a lot of stuff. So obviously we got some crystal down that way. But then everything else you kind of like, you know, kind of figure out. So got some metal not too far over here. If you have a flyer, it's probably pretty easy to get to. Obsidian, I mean, there's some more metal down here. So it's kind of spread out as long as you don't mind going out and getting it. Not sure about your obsidian though. And then also, as far as water goes, it looks like you might just be either doing some water tank strategies here, or you know, making your way over to the lake, and or even here. So here's a nice little lake. You can actually get a what's it called, an intake pipe down, and then put your chain of water tanks to get that back to your base here. So they're not too bad, but definitely not the most convenient. If you're going to build here, it's probably more for the aesthetic, right? So overall, if you don't mind all that stuff, then pretty cool base location. Back in the aberration zone, our next base location is at 29.6, 65.4, and we're right at the entrance, or the main entrance here. So that's where you would come in if you came in from like the main lake entrance. And we're looking at this spot right here. So this is just one of these, I don't know what you would call it, just outcroppings that are attached to these giant roots that are kind of just hovering above everything. So really out of the way, nothing is going to get you up here, right? So just a really nice spot. The trick is getting up here, right? So there is that. Just like our other base location, though, in the aberration zone, resources are a little scarce and not so easy to come by. So you're gonna have to do some searching for sure. And then, of course, there's always going to be the struggle for water. Now, I believe on the regular aberration map, when you're in, like, when you have the cave or like the map ceiling above you, so I guess it's not the map ceiling in this case, but it's the cave ceiling, that your water tanks will just slowly accumulate water just by being in here. I don't know if that's the case on Valguero, so it's worth a shot. But then if you can't do that, then obviously water is going to be a little bit of a struggle up here as well. However, if you're set on building the aberration zone and you're looking for a mostly flat spot that's kind of out of the way, then this might be the spot for you. So yeah, definitely unique. I will say that much. You can find the entrance of the next base location over here at 15 and 60.1. So we're in the snow biome, and you're looking for this like it's like ravine kind of area here. So just to give you some context, this is what the surrounding area looks like, and you're looking for this like this gap in the ground here, and you'll see like these pillars, like this this ice structure. So this is our base location in here. So it's not the biggest in the world, but if you want to be in the snow biome, this is, I mean, as good a place as any, right? I think this rock is breakable, so you can get rid of this rock. You can build a nice, decent sized base in here. You know, if you're using cryopods, then you can just cryo your dinos. And outside, as you might have seen, you just have access to all the resources you could possibly want. Like, there's just so much obsidian and metal all over the place, like, and even oil. I think there's some oil rocks here as well. So yeah, it is kind of spread out, I will say. So there is that. You do also have to be careful of ice columns, which are around here. I don't know if we can spot one while we're looking around. These might be some. No, these are just rocks. But yeah, then as far as water goes, I mean, there is the lake down there that you can build some, build a tap in, or not a tap, but a intake, and then just kind of, you know, do your chain of water tanks. There's also a little lake over here that you could use to get water to your base. So as long as you don't mind that, I mean, you do have access to plenty of resources, and then, you know, all these snow biome tames as well. Just kind of a side note, this did used to be a spawn for Karches and Gigas in the original map, so I'm not sure if they will spawn here again, but just something to consider if you're building up here. So overall though, really nice spot, easy to secure, and has a ton of resources really close for you. All right, base location 15 is over here at 48.8, 19.8. And of course, I couldn't have a, favorite base location video without including the oil cave. So, I mean, obviously, if you need oil, this is the place to go. I'm not sure if you need cave building turned on to build in here. So if you're unofficial, that might be a blocker for you. There is just, obviously oil is not a problem if you build in here. I like this area in the back where it's kind of flat. I mean, you could probably build cliff platforms in here and just kind of make it your own if you're set on building in a cave. Also, as long as you don't mind the sound. I mean, hearing that all the time. I mean, hearing waterfalls is one thing. Hearing this all the time is kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. But I do believe that even though this is oil, I think you can drink it. I'm pretty sure it acts like water, or at least it used to in the original Valguero. And then if that's the case, I mean, obviously you don't have to worry about bringing water into your base. That being said, you do have a ton of space to work with if you don't mind building and all that. And then outside, you do have some access to some other resources. So like your crystal is right down there. But then as far as everything else goes, maybe you might have to travel just a little bit. So you do have a ton of obsidian right over here. And then I thought that RG was something else. If you really need to, one of our other base locations right back here, you have this whole mountain back here that's going to have a ton of metal, crystal, and obsidian as well. So there is that. And then if for some reason that oil in there does not act like water anymore, you do have a lake right above your base that you can kind of just ferry down, and your cave entrance is right here. So definitely a really good base location if you can get here. And again, if you don't mind the sound, because for me personally, that sound is just it would get really old really fast. But overall, definitely a solid base location. Okay, for our next base location, we are back here in the Redwoods, actually very far back into the Redwoods, and we're at 87.3, 11.2. And the base location we're looking at here is this, it's kind of like a small little fort. Obviously not the biggest area, but you do have access to crystal right here. You do have access to water. It's very easy to get to. It's a nice little spot, easy to secure, except from flyers, but I haven't really seen any RGs around here. It's mostly just Pteranodon, so you do have that working for you. Obviously, this is the Redwoods, though, so you have to be careful of, what's it called? Of Thylas, but as you can see, you're just set way back in here. Something else to note is, I believe it's over here. Possibly. Right here. So just for reference, right? So here's your base location. Here's your little fort. If you come right toward Red Ob, you'll see this giant sort of broken tree thing here. And inside is a ton of organic polymer plants. So you can pick these up. You can come here with a dire bear if you want to, harvest them up. I think the dire bear will yield more for you, but I mean, there's just a ton of it in here for you. So definitely very nice to have close to your base. But yeah, then as far as metal and everything goes, I mean, you're going to kind of have to look around for it. I don't think there's any like massive nodes or very close to this base location, unfortunately, but I mean, if you don't mind traveling for it, you could always go back over to, that was one of the other base locations we looked at earlier, and there'll be some resources over there for you. So, but yeah, definitely a pretty base location, and it does have a couple things going for it. So if you're into it, then this is up here in the Redwoods. Okay, base location 17 is back up here in the Chalk Cliffs at 81.5, 87.8, and you may recognize this from the original Valguero map as well, but it's these ruins up here, right? So ultimately, you have this entire sort of plateau that you can use however you'd like, as long as you don't mind, you know, kind of clearing it out and then blocking spawns off as you go. But, you know, you do have this main structure here, which is something you can use to start in, you know, fill in the gaps in the floor. It is all buildable. As you can see, we have a foundation here, so that's good news. And then there are going to be some like ramps and stuff along the way that you may want to block off. Not on the side here, but you do have like all these, you know, it's just very scenic, right? You have a lot of overlook. You can see a good chunk of the rest of the map from here, which is kind of cool. I like that. And then, yeah, so you just kind of, the further you build out, the more you're going to have to kind of secure. Obviously, we have Mega Raptors here, which, I mean, you can look at that either way, right? Good if you want to tame them, but otherwise you're going to have to deal with them. But yeah, you can kind of just branch out this way, secure the bridge, secure this natural ramp or two up, and you're in really good shape. As far as resources go, right, you do have a bit of crystal up here. You can kind of see some more crystal off in the distance. Even like if you secure these, and you have like easy access to that crystal as well then. And then water is kind of close, right? You get some water right there. Obviously you have to move it up vertically if you want to capture that. And then, I mean, there's more crystal over here. There's Deinonychus, so if you want some Deinonychus, also a little bit more water. But as far as metal and obsidian go, it's going to be a bit of a trek. So if you don't mind coming all the way up here to pretty much the border, there is some metal here. Doesn't look like there's any obsidian to be found, so you may have to do some traveling for that. But, I mean, overall, like that is a huge, potentially huge base location for you. Actually, I thought there might have been some obsidian there. I guess we were just rendering in some weird textures from being so far away. Yeah, that's what that looks like. But yeah, overall, really nice base location. Okay, our next base location is not the biggest or the best, but it is definitely unique. And the entrance is located at 77.3, 70.7. As you can tell, it's also not very friendly over here. We got Hallows wandering around. I'm pretty sure Deinonychus can spawn over here, and there's a raptor as well. And you have to watch out for Mega Raptors. However, if you can brave all of that, then right in here is the base location. So it is not huge. However, if you're looking for just a small little nook to secure yourself, you know, and you like the purple lighting, I mean, this is the spot for you. You also have some crystal that spawns in here. Obviously, you'll probably be blocking a bunch of it as you build, but I mean, it's here for you, right? If you need it. As far as everything else goes, though, water, you'll actually have to you have to ferry into here, of course. Some more crystal right above you. There's some metal up here, which is pretty nice. Deinonychus nests, some obsidian just kind of scattered about, right? We have some obsidian right here. So all in all, really nice spot. And then of course, if you want some water, you can actually just you know, funnel it over from this little lake over here. So yeah, all in all, really unique spot and perfect if you want just a small place to hide away. So base location 19 is over here at 72.6, 71.4, and we are right next to the first base location we looked at here, except we're over in this main area. So there's no way else up here except for this land bridge, and you can very easily block that off with a few dino gates or a behemoth gate. And then you have this nice flat area to build on. It is like very flat. So that is super cool. You can build it as vertical as you want, right? You can put some cliff platforms on the side if you want to. You're obviously really close to all these resources. So all the metal, obsidian, and crystal that are along this large sort of plateau. Again, the trend, you know, is that water is always the issue, especially over here on the chalk cliffs, right? If you're not by the water, then you have to figure out a way to get the water up to you. So that is definitely the case here, but overall a very secure spot. And then it puts you in a really good position if you want to be taming up some Deinonychus, if you want to be taming up some Mega Raptors or anything like that. There was an altar for the Mega Raptor over here, so they do actually spawn on this area here. So definitely need to be careful, but overall, if you're willing to brave all of that, then this could be the base location for you. And then last but not least, we have base location number 20 on our list, and it is at 77.9, 83.2. And it is this island here. Again, another island, right? And surrounded by water, so water is not a problem. The only problem is, you do have to worry about creatures falling off of the cliffs above you. So while you do have the water around you, and obviously there's a raptor in here that cannot possibly find its way out, at least not anytime soon, you will have to sort of contend with anything that does make its way onto your little island here. But it is mostly flat, easy to kind of build around and just sort of secure yourself. It is very pretty. Obviously the trees will be gone if you're building on here, so there is that to think about. As far as resources go, there are a bit of resources up here kind of scattered around, but the bulk of your resources are going to be over this way. So kind of back where we were looking before, right? We have this large plateau with all those resources on it. That'll probably be your go-to. I mean, obviously you have some metal here, and some crystal down there, but the bulk of the resources are definitely on that plateau over there. So really nice spot. I mean, there's some more trees around here. It's definitely very scenic, right? As long as you don't mind the sound of the waterfalls all the time while you're building your base, or while you're at your base rather. Yeah, overall, just very nice, right? So that is my list of top 20 base locations. There are almost certainly more. In fact, I was actually looking for more, and like they used to be on the original map, and I couldn't find them. So I don't know if maybe they got changed, maybe they got removed, like certain caves and stuff. But yeah, so if I missed any, if you think that I missed any, if you think that there are other base locations that should have been on this list, definitely let me know down in the comments. But yeah, are any of these your favorite? Are any of these going to be ones that you're building in? Let me know. And yeah, we're just going to wrap it up here. So if you enjoyed this one, if it was helpful, make sure you hit that like button. Helps the channel out a ton. And if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.